Thank you so much for joining us. And Heroes and Headaches. Essentially, it's kind of a ripoff of Dan Patrick's, like, what does he call it? Best and worst of the weekend. It's kind of like that, a little bit different, but in a way,
It's our own spin.
Yeah, in a way, kind of the same. The hero, someone that did something good in the sporting unit. I guess you could make it outside of sports if you wanted. And then the headache is somebody who drove you crazy or had a bad performance. We're getting a lot of text messages on that. My hero was Evan Longoria. I thought Longo weekend overall was a pretty good success. Thought Friday night a little disappointing, but there really wasn't much going on as far as the Evan Longoria stuff goes. There were no free giveaways, but it was a first-place team, and the upper deck was open, so I expect more people. I think the final attendance was 15 or 16,000, so I'd have liked to have seen a higher attendance on Friday. My headache for the weekend, though, was Conor McGregor for tearing his ACL or whatever it was that he did. That
blew
fight,
out his knee.
Yeah, blew out his knee in the first minute of the fight. Couple text messages coming in. My hero from the weekend, definitely Junior Caminero and how he continues to mash home runs. As for my headache, it's clearly Conor McGregor blowing out his knee. I can't believe I stayed up just to watch that fiasco. That's from Tom in Sarasota. Big J in St. Pete, he says, my hero is definitely Jonathan Aranda, continuing his stellar first half, and my headache is how the refs screwed Norway by not seeing the ball clearly in all caps hit the cable, which led to England's first goal. That was also Tim's headache. Was the officiating crew in that England-Norway game. And, if you didn't see that. If you didn't see that, it's crazy because they go to VAR for everything in the World Cup. In fact, they go to it way too much. And the whole referee thing in the World Cup is kind of silly, especially when they go, like when they're introducing the referees in the beginning of the match and they're in that room that's lit up all blue and they're standing still. FIFA's just, they're weird. They really are. That said, I love their product, but they are weird. But, a lot of text messages coming in on that, Tim. You're not the only one that had that as the headache. One more here, then we'll move on. But, again, continue texting in 82945. You can also call in 888-388-0957. Another World Cup one here. My headache definitely had to be Belgium's goalie giving up the rebound that led to Spain's game-winning goal. I lost $500 because of that. And my hero was Patty the Batty Pimblett choking out Benoit St. Denis in under a minute. That's from Don in Pinellas Park. Now, Tim, did you watch the UFC card? I did not.
I saw the final 3 fights, and I was rooting for Patty and how he just got him in that guillotine choke. And once he locked in, got through his arm, it was over. That was awesome. That was so cool to see.
And then, because I actually forgot. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge UFC guy. Like, if someone's having a get together and doing a fight night, I'll go for the hang, and I'll put a couple. I think betting on it makes it obviously a little bit more fun, and I'll have fun with it. But I've never gone out of my way to pay for the pay-per-view, and now I know it's on Paramount Plus, but back in the day, you had to pay for each one individually. And I'll go hang out at one of those when somebody orders the fight. But I'm never the person that orders it myself. Now,
I used to. When McGregor was at his height, I was a big Conor McGregor fan, and I would order every single UFC fight he was in.
Now, let me ask you this. If someone's hosting fight night and they invite you over, is it unspoken that you chip in, everyone there chips in, or is the person hosting cover it? How does that go? Because I've always found that I always end up offering, obviously, but what's the general rule there? You just assume you got to pay basically a cover to get in?
I would think so. If you're with your buddies, I would always offer, and it's going to go one of two ways. Yes, it's $10 a head, or nah, you're good, man. I got you. Because at the end of that was back in the pay-per-view days.
Yeah, this was during COVID when it was the only sport on.
Exactly.
Remember they were doing fights over in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where they were. Dubai, maybe?
I think it was
Yeah,
Dubai.
Dubai was one of them. But
they had an island. Remember the island?
Yes, I do remember that.
I just don't remember where it was.
So you said you ordered every Conor McGregor fight. Did you go into this fight this weekend thinking it was going to be this awesome classic? Because my dad and my brother were convinced this was going to be a great fight. And then obviously it ends up being one of the worst fights of all time with McGregor blowing out his knee. And they were like, I can't, And then my brother's going, he'll come back. They're going to do this fight a year from now and it's going to be epic. And I'm like, all the data says it's not going to be. I mean, McGregor's he's 38, I believe, and in this sport, that is really old.
Especially, too, since he's been away
for 5 years.
5 years.
You don't just come back. And again, I compared it to Pacquiao and Mayweather. Like, I knew that fight wasn't going to be good. Did I watch it? Yes, because it was the two names that we wanted to see fight each other for so long. But by the time it happened, they were both so old for the sport, it ended up being a big old letdown. And I knew that's what McGregor was going to be, so it wasn't even something I got to be honest, I forgot it was on until I saw you mention it on social media. And I went, oh, let's go see what happened in the fight. And, of course, I got to watch the entire fight in a 1-minute video.
Oh, 15 seconds.
On Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, so I never go into a fight expecting it to be a classic. I don't care if it's two of the biggest names in the sport. I just go with the idea I'm excited for the fight. It's like, all right, hey, McGregor, Holloway, let's go. This is going to be fun. But am I expecting an instant classic? No. I'm going to see how the fight plays out, and then I will decide.
Often the fight before the main event is the better one, even though they're not two big names. Like the last one that I can remember was, remember when Mike Tyson and Jake Paul or Logan Paul? I think it was Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
When they fought each other, which, by the way, if you went into that thinking it was going to be... See, like my dad and brother, I believe, are the type of people that would think, it's Mike Tyson, he's the best fighter ever, this is going to be great, right? And then you go in there and you're absolutely disappointed. The two girls that fought before that fight...
That was a great fight.
Were incredible.
That was a phenomenal fight.
So a lot of times it's the fight before... Like, the headliner are just the names.
Exactly.
And now more often than not, it seems to be like old geezers with big names taking each other on and collecting a payday. And it's the fight before the main event that's usually the better one.
I was really hoping Tyson would just knock Jake out.
I feel like there was a deal made there.
He held back. Oh, he totally held back.
Because there were a couple moments when he had an opportunity to uppercut him, and he didn't. Now, I watched that fight because it was on Netflix, although I had a lot of streaming issues that night. I remember it kept going in and out.
We all did. It's not just you.
But as a big Mike Tyson fan and watched a lot of his fights growing up, I just remember his last fight against Lennox Lewis and how old he looked and how slow he was. And that was like 20 years prior to the fight with Jake Paul. So I didn't have very high expectations. In fact, it turned out to be exactly what I thought it would be. Kind of a disappointment. And it felt like he was there for the payday, and the rule was Jake Paul was going to win. That's kind of what it felt like, and that's how it really all played out.
Yeah, or that, not that necessarily Jake Paul was going to win, just that Tyson's going to hold back.
Yeah, I definitely feel there was something put in place going, you can do whatever you want, don't uppercut me. Because there were a couple opportunities when you had the signature Mike Tyson uppercut available to Mike, and he didn't land it, or he didn't even go for it. And I just, if you really go back and you watch the replay of that match, like, you know, there's videos of it on TikTok and stuff like that point all of that stuff out. You're like, wow, I really did get scammed. Not me, because I knew it wasn't going to be great, but a lot of people fall for that stuff. And I think the McGregor one is under that umbrella. Would you say that had to be one of the most disappointing sporting events? Not just this year, but like ever. I mean, there was so much buildup to McGregor coming back. First time in 5 years. He's one of the biggest to ever be in that sport. And then to blow out his knee on the very first second of the match is just disappointing.
Yeah, I think it is very disappointing. But in terms of it being disappointing all time, it's up there, but I don't think it's the most disappointing. I mean,
what about in UFC? I mean, has there ever been a more disappointing moment in UFC? I mean that has to be it.
That's a good question.
It's Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard to think back of every UFC fight you've ever watched. I don't want to
go down that list.
Yeah, majority of the audience is I don't think UFC is mainstream, but it's a certain kind of audience. Like, we don't really cover it on the radio, but I think because of what happened this weekend, that's why we're covering it and talking about it. I think people left there very disappointed. I mean, you got less than a minute of this matchup. And Holloway knew it right away. He was sitting there pointing.
Credit to Max Holloway for looking at the ref, being like, hello, he's hurt. Please call the fight.
And the ref's like, nah, I think he's fine. And continued to let him get his face punched.
McGregor wanted to continue, too.
No, he did. And these guys they're built different. Because I would have been like, yeah, I'm done. Got my paycheck. It's over. But, I mean, what a disappointment. The entrance, took more time than the actual match.
Yeah, they got to do something. Like, not just UFC, boxing's the same way. Can we just fix the entrances? Can we just speed it up? Because I don't want to watch 30 minutes of entrances.
No, they're gonna drag it out. That's the thing. Boxing, the main event, for whatever reason, always has to start after midnight. In boxing, for sure. I don't. What time? I would say that one.
That was like 11:45 that the fight started.
Yeah, it started at 11:45 and it was over by 11:46.
Mm-hmm.
Literally a minute. I mean, really, it was less than. If the ref would have called it when he was supposed to, it would have been over. But definitely a disappointment. We're taking your text on heroes and headaches. Your hero of the weekend, your headache of the weekend. One more here. Well, we got a lot, but I'll get one more here before we get into the break. Give me Longoria as my hero. He's why I am a Rays fan, and the headache is that Swiss flopper who rightfully got ejected for it. That's from Paul in Tampa. Yeah, was it Switzerland versus Argentina?
It was. And it was a 1-1 game in the second half.
Yeah, the Swiss player literally, it was like in hockey, like diving. He faked the fall. And originally the Argentina player got a yellow card, and then when they went back and looked at it on video, they realized he took a dive, and they took the red card from the Argentina player, gave it to the Swiss player, who already had a yellow card, which then equals a red card, and he was booted out of the game. And they had to play a man down against Argentina, the defending champions, and Argentina gets bailed out again, it feels like, in the World Cup.
The funny part is the Swiss player was Brielle Imbolo, and at the start of this tournament, he had to get an expedited visa just to travel over here. He didn't have his passport ready to go. So it's pretty funny how just this guy had all these issues going into the tournament and then ends up with that.
Yeah, maybe he should have just stayed home. All right, Longo Legacy Weekend. There was somebody yesterday I really felt bad for at the Trop. We'll get to that, plus who should have their number retired next. We'll get into all of that here on The Nick Wize Show on 95.7 WDAE.